Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. We're pushing to 2,000 subscribers, so if you guys do enjoy my content, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. So it's time to pod, y'all. So for today's episode, I want to talk about Isaiah Stevens, the undrafted player that has been making waves this summer league with the Miami Heat. He is fighting for a two-way contract with the Miami Heat. So far, the Miami Heat have three players with a two-way contract, but we know that they can rescind an offer at any point and make a new decision whenever they want. So right now, Josh Christopher recently just got a new two-way contract. We have Keyshawn Johnson, who's a lock, in my opinion, to keep that two-way contract. And then we have Drew Smith, who is on a two-way contract for the second year in a row as our backup point guard. And we all know that he's coming off an ACL injury right now, so he's not even available, wasn't able to play in the summer league. And so the Miami Heat were able to pick up undrafted Isaiah Stevens. And so I want to talk about the guard from Colorado State and how I think he essentially could be the next Kyle Lowry or even CP3 for this Miami Heat. So let's break that down. So first, let's talk about Isaiah Stevens' college career. So at Colorado State, he was a 5-year player in college, and Stevens, he showcased a lot of leadership and playmaking and scoring ability, much like Kyle Lowry did when he was playing at Villanova. And Stevens is just a true floor general, true point guard that this Miami Heat roster desperately needs, as they don't have a real point guard anywhere on this roster. Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Josh Richardson, Alec Burks. These guys are not point guards. These guys are combo guards or shooting guards or even small forwards. So the Miami Heat, are desperately looking for a floor general, a playmaker who can make their teammates better, take control of the game when it matters, get the guys set up in the right position to score. And so he played really well his senior year of college. He averaged 16 points per game, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 83% from the free throw line, 44% from three, 47.4 from the field. So really, really good player. One thing that stood out in his college career and also in the summer league is his defense. So that's another area where Stevens shines, just like Kyle Lowry did. Especially, I'm comparing him more so to a younger Kyle Lowry, not the Kyle Lowry that was on the Miami Heat, who was age 35, 36, and 37. But either way, he's a gritty defender like Kyle Lowry, a tough defender who can guard multiple positions. Even though he's small, that's a knock on him that he's only 6 feet tall. But he isn't afraid to dive for loose balls, just like Kyle Lowry or CP3. He's not afraid to take charges. So that kind of hustle, that kind of determination, that kind of passion is exactly what the Miami Heat defense really needs. So if we also look at like Kyle Lowry's impact in his career or CP3, how they impacted winning for their teams, they provided veteran presence. Obviously, they provided clutch performance. They were good two-way players and they were leaders, and they were good playmakers and distributors. And Isaiah Stevens in the future could bring that same type of energy, because they have the high basketball IQ that he could one day run an NBA offense, especially a second unit. Like I can honestly see Isaiah running the second unit off the bench with players like Jaime Jaquez, with Duncan Robinson, with Khalil Ware specifically. So that's one thing I want to talk about is he plays extremely well with Khalil Ware in that pick and roll. And we saw that in the summer league. And Khalil Ware only improved after each and every game. And Isaiah Stevens was able to put him in the spots where he was able to take advantage of smaller defenders, shoot over the top, back them down. Lots of alley-oops, lots of dunks for Khalil Ware. And so they were a good dynamic duo. And right now, Khalil Ware was at a Miami Heat kids summer camp, and one of the kids asked him, who is your favorite player that you played with on the summer league team? And he had a great answer where he said, obviously everybody, but if I had to pick, the person I pick is Isaiah Stevens, and that's because of that chemistry that they both, have early on, which is a good sign. So I'm hoping Isaiah Stevens gets that third two-way contract. I hope he um, dethrones Drew Smith, who I think is just not a good NBA player. Isaiah Stevens has shown that he's a better passer, especially in summer league. He averaged what did he average? He averaged 8.8 points per game in summer league. He averaged 8 assists as well and 3 rebounds, and he shot splits of 59% from the field, 64% from three, 89% from the field. So Stevens in the summer league as an undrafted player with a lot of guards that got drafted ahead of him, or just in general, ranked number 3 in assists in the summer league. So he did put up some good looking numbers, and the value that he did bring for the Miami Heat, doesn't lie again just within the box score, but instead, it's how he's unlocked Kel'el Ware, the Miami Heat's first round pick, and then it's also how he can, dive for the loose balls. He can take charges. The defense, obviously, as well, is something to focus on as well as being a two-way player and also someone that can help us on the perimeter with point of attack defense against guards because we don't have anybody that can really do that besides Haywood, Jimmy, who's getting older, and then Bam Adebayo. We don't want Bam to be guarding the point of attack always, even though he could do that more freely now that we have Kel'el Ware, who's a good rim protector, and someone who's 7 feet tall with a 7'9" wingspan playing next to Bam Adebayo potentially, or eventually, hopefully, could be lethal. And then you throw in an Isaiah Stevens coming off the bench. We already are guard heavy at this point, but still, when it comes to like the two ways, we already have um, Keyshawn, who's going to probably play small ball four. He's 6'7". He could play small forward, power forward. We got Josh Christopher, who could play, who's 6'5", 6'9" wingspan. He's a shooting guard, but you could slide down to the small forward. So we need a guard, and I don't think Drew Smith is capable of running a offense. I think Isaiah Stevens would be a fun fit and a good fit, especially if Jay Rich is not, healing well or not ready to play early on. And he's older too, so we already know what we're going to get from Jay Rich. So if we're willing to sacrifice Jay Rich and play Isaiah Stevens off the bench with a Duncan, with potentially an Alec Burks, with Jaime, obviously, with Kevin Love in some spot minutes, and then with Kel'el Ware, he could run that second unit. And again, he's a capable shooter. He could shoot the three really well. I'm not going to look at the 64% from summer league and think that's feasible. He shot like 7 threes or 8 threes total. So like it's not like he shot it on high volume, but in college, shot 44% his final year, 38% one year, 38 again, 42.7, 38 in his 5 seasons. So he never shot below 37.7% in college. So that's a good sign, and it's translating in summer league in a small sample size. But I'm really interested in seeing Isaiah Stevens get an opportunity. Again, he said he mentioned he likes CP3. He's trying to mimic CP3. In the Miami Heat, we haven't had a true point guard since Kyle Lowry, but he was outside of his prime and a bust for this Miami Heat team for the most part, of course. He had some good games and played well, but again, he didn't live up to his contract. 3 years, $90 million was just ridiculous. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Isaiah Stevens deserves that last two-way spot over Drew Smith? And then number two, do you guys see a little Kyle Lowry in him? Do you guys see a little CP3 in his game? Thanks for watching. And again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.